Welcome back to another episode of Old Park Gaming. Today's episode is Situational Climbs. I'm going to bring you two hex wrenches of your toolbox. The situation where you're going to need one, are you going to use it all the time? Probably not. But if the situation arises and they're useful, you're glad you have it in the toolbox. I was working on a video to show some different climbs and boosts that have a lot more tactical advantage or tactical opportunities. Now, Wargaming has gone to great extent to make sure that they either shelve or redesign the maps to take out a lot of the old climbs. And if you're like me, I used to love watching some of the Billy Goat videos and trying to get into what Wargaming calls non-playable areas. What remains now with 1.2 is your opportunities to climb have been severely limited. So while making that video, we were in a training room and someone had asked me, is there any other climb that you use just when the situation arises? Not so much as a tactical advantage, but more for when the opportunity arises. Is there a climb that you have in your toolbox that you can use to take a tactical advantage if a certain situation arose? And there's a couple of them, and I have two as an example, and I'm going to show them to you today. If you're like me, you love watching the old videos of mountain goating or finding different paths that would allow you to climb up on top of some non-playable area and then being able to farm for days. Mountain Pass is a great example. This path used to be you could run fast medium. Cromwell could run this ramp, and now Wargaming has gone to great lengths to make sure you don't have any more fun in the non-playable areas. You can't even force a tank up. We tried to force tanks through, and you can see where they shelved it. And shelving is just a programmer's term for, I'm going to put a wall in here, but I'm going to make it invisible so that you can't see it, and I don't have to restructure the map or change the scenery. Scenery looks the same, but there's a wall there now. Another example is on Tundra. There used to be, over on the east side of the map, a way to get up onto the perch from the outside, and it allowed you to get access to areas that Wargaming, I guess, decided they don't want you to have access to. So rather than shelving it, Wargaming just redesigned the map in one of the updates and put a rock so that you cannot get the seesaw motion to get up on top and get into that perch. It's one of the two ways that Wargaming has gotten rid of a lot of the old mountain goat paths or mountain goat climbs.
Oh no. Man, oh man. Mom, we have a situation.
So let's head over to Airfield. Airfield has been redesigned. In update 1.20, Wargaming has fixed a lot of the problems that made tankers hate this map. They made an attempt to stop a climb from the mid, and they redesigned the rocks that you climb on, as well as they opened up a lot of the fighting space in the middle. So the situations where you would use this climb are severely limited. Let's say all of the remaining enemy, you have 4 or 5 tanks all sitting up in the northeast corner, and they're just waiting for you to pass through the middle where the heavies fight. What you need to do is to be able to line them up so that you're only fighting one at a time. There is a way to get up there without having to go through that kill box, that cross right there. But to get there, you have to drive through the open to the south of the map. And you, again, situational climb. Wargaming tried to get rid of this one, and you can tell it's much harder to do, but it's still climbable. So the old way of doing it was to head up, come up into the mid. You were pretty safe from anything far to the outside of the map, but you could get up relatively easy. All you had to do was climb up on top, get up into the top of the rocks, and you pretty much just follow the terrain. You're up and in. Now the terrain has changed, so getting that last climb, or the last bit before you get up into the bushes, has become a little more difficult. So kind of pay attention to where I'm putting the front of my tank so that you can see the path I'm following, and you just kind of snake your way up. And Wargaming always kind of leaves you a hint. It seems like there's a shadow or a dark spot that you can follow that will give you an idea of where you can get a bite, or where your tracks can get a bite enough where you're not sliding. And again, situational. If you have tanks in the middle, on the north and the south, you are not going to be able to make this climb and live through it. Situational climb number 2. And this was the training room where someone had asked me, do you have any other little situational climbs where we could just add to our toolbox? There is one, and it's been here for a while. I'm going to separate them because the boost and the climb on El Haluf are a little bit more in depth than what I want to cover here. These are just 2 quick situational climbs. The tactical opportunities to use these climbs are limited, so please take this with a grain of salt. But if you get into a situation where you need access and you don't want to expose yourself to kill boxes or death zones, shotgun alleys, whatever you want to call them, there is a way to get around it that a lot of players don't expect. So I'm going to leave the El Haluf boost and climb, the tactical ones, to the other video. In this one, I'm going to show you a climb that, if the situation arises, know that you have this option in your toolbox. So we're going to head in, you're going to come up to this middle part, and a lot of times tanks are sitting waiting for you to come through one of those 2 spots. They're looking for you to come through one of 2 lanes. So they'll set up a crossfire to hit those 2 access points. There is a way to get up into the perch so that you can either line them up or take on one tank at a time. What you do is you get up to the front part of this hill, you aim just to the right of the bush, and you want to put your tank where the light colored sand and the dark colored sand meet. That's where you're going to make your cutback. You can't climb this slow. You need a little bit of speed, but if you aim, get high enough left, and then aim for the divider where the light sand and the dark sand meet, you'll get up barely without slowing down. The CSs are ridiculous when it comes to this climb. You send the CS at any kind of speed, they'll jump up there like the climb wasn't even there. So take a look at how this climb is done, and then add it to your toolbox. I hope you get some use out of it. Again, it's a situational climb. that guy went out wide, which is what I probably should have done. Or I can take this very slow tank, go all the way around that corner, drive up that ramp, and then try to get there before he's dead. I decide, nah, I may not have speed, but I have horsepower.
You can do it!
Did anyone else know that you could take a tortoise and drive up this ramp? Because I sure didn't. It's Billy Goatin time as we're chasing damage. Let's see if we can chase. Okay, well, maybe we're just gonna chase the kill. Get out the way. I need the kill. Get out of the. Thank you. So, I hope these situational climbs were helpful. I appreciate you stopping by and watching. Please leave a comment if you liked it. Hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.